Welcome everyone, Christine here with a discussion about certain mods for Total War Warhammer 3 that will make playing this game significantly better when we're talking to the campaign situation in particular. And the first such mod to talk about is the legendary difficulty restrictions that exist. I personally play the game exclusively on Legendary. The reason I do so is because obviously I've been playing the series for a very long time, over a decade and a half. I do want the AI to have as many benefits as it possibly can, within reason. I don't want crazy cheats. I dislike that about Warhammer 2 and Shogun 2. But within reason, I want the AI to have the most benefits it can get in the game. Because I think like the way Creative Assembly balanced Warhammer 3, the benefits it gets on Legendary are reasonable. And there is a difference between the benefits on Legendary and the benefits on Very Hard. So that's why I play on Legendary. But there is a problem with Legendary. It auto-saves constantly. And the problem with auto-saving constantly is that when it's doing so, it degrades your campaign performance. So the way it will work is Legendary by default will auto-save when you start a turn, when you end a turn, when you enter a battle, or you're about to enter a battle. Like let's say you're attacking a settlement, you're going to this screen on whether or not you want to Autoresolve or something like that. It will autosave. It will autosave when you exit that. When you're entering a battle, exiting a battle, it will autosave. As you might imagine, all of this autosaving is going to degrade your campaign performance. What the mod does, very crucially, is it removes the autosaving. So instead, even though you might be playing on Legendary, you actually have regular campaign saves. You can say it's breaking the spirit of Legendary difficulty. I couldn't care less about Iron Man. I think Iron Man was never really that important of a factor. I think what is important about Legendary is that it provides the AI the tools, within reason, to be able to hold their own against the player. I don't care much for the camera restrictions either, and this mod will remove the camera restrictions as well. And it does work with other mods. So I have the old world installed, I have a bunch of other mods installed. It works just fine. That's the first mod. There's still more, but they're both related to settlements. So what do these other two mods do? Well, let's take a gander here. This is a settlement, so I can quick save, obviously. Even if the button is grayed out, I can quick save because of the first mod I mentioned. But what does the mod do? What do the second and third mods do? Well, one of the problems that I've talked about, one of the biggest problems that exists in Warhammer 3 is with regards to Autoresolve. Specifically, one of the biggest problems with Autoresolve, beyond the fact that armor is too highly valued, I could probably Autoresolve this battle even in the default state and take relatively few losses. But one of the biggest problems that exists in Warhammer 3 is the simple fact that when you Autoresolve against any settlement, it can be a tier 1 settlement, it can be a tier 2 settlement, it does not matter. You are always going to take more damage against the settlement than you would in a field battle. But what exactly is that? Well, a modder was able to figure it out, and I'm glad I actually checked the mod list for this because, yeah, someone figured this out a while ago, actually. So what the game is doing is that it's giving the AI free towers to count towards Autoresolve. So it's 3 towers for minor settlements, it's 6 towers towards major settlements. It's not the walls themselves that actually matter, it's the fact that it's counting like the AI having extra towers by default, and that counting towards an Autoresolve benefit. What this mod does, it removes those towers from the Autoresolve result. And so you can do something like this in a campaign where you now can Autoresolve against the settlement and not lose half your army. Now, to be fair, in Lokir's case, he wouldn't have lost half his army. But if you're telling me I'm going up against the walled settlement, or unwalled settlement, but provincial capital in this case, with an army of Dark Elves, even for all the armor the Black Ark Corsairs have, and I would lose so few troops, that would never happen in the default game. Simple as that. But it now can happen. And this is an amazing change. I can't stress this enough, what a game changer this is for the better. The reason it's such a game changer for the better is because it means that you might actually auto-resolve the battles that are meaningless, the settlement battles, the garrisons in particular. You might auto-resolve those. You might fight the field battles. You might fight the field battles more. And the field battles are really the battles that matter in a campaign. Not, from my perspective, not the sieges, not the settlement battles. Unless there's, of course, a full garrison there. But no longer will garrisons just have a benefit just for simply being garrisons. Now, by the way, this will affect AI as well, and how the AI behaves on the campaign map. Because I am fairly certain that one of the reasons you see the AI being less aggressive on the campaign map than it should be, even though they might have the resources, because the AI knows what its chances with Autoresolve are going to be. So if you remove the benefit of... So if you remove the Autoresolve benefit in terms of the campaign situation, then suddenly things can get a lot more interesting on the campaign map. The AI might be able to expand more quicker, might be able to take more territory faster, achieve it more rapidly, and create a more interesting campaign dynamic for you to deal with as a player than you might have before. And that is a really, really good thing as far as I am personally concerned. Now, of course, people will cry out that, oh, you know, Autoresolve. Like, there are some people who genuinely believe, and I find this ridiculous, but there are some people who do genuinely hold the opinion that we shouldn't Autoresolve any battles. I find that ridiculous, to be honest. That is plainly ridiculous from my perspective. Not every battle in a campaign is worth a damn. Like, build an army properly, you should just be able to steamroll your opponent. Because they have weaker armies, not have to deal with these invisible benefits. And you know what's irritating about all of this when I'm making this video is like, yeah, the mods are great. It's fantastic to have this. How come we end up again in a situation where the solution to a problem that has existed since the launch of Warhammer 3 is something a modern can fix by just editing a couple of game files? How is it that time and again we see this with Creative Assembly, that there are problems in their games, problems that can be easily fixed, I might add, and that's a game, no, that's just a plague box, but there are problems in their games, problems that can be easily remedied, but they never are. Why do we constantly see this again and again and again with these kind of issues?
Yes.
And we see modders being able to fix this, whereas Creative Assembly just doesn't care. I cannot accept the argument that it is fine as it is, because I do not consider this to be fine. I just simply don't take that view. That the way the Autoresolve, the way Legendary has been handled, is fine. I think to some extent it's inertia. It's just like Creative Assembly is fine with how things are. Not enough people are making a fuss about it, so they won't change it. Hell, Creative Assembly is the kind of company where plenty of people can make a fuss about something, and they still won't change it. That's just who they are as a developer. And it takes a significant amount of criticism for them to make any kind of substantial changes. Not enough people care about this. Like there's a lot of people who talk about the passive AI. Now, of course, sometimes Creative Assembly does make things for the better, but other times they just don't care, and that's how we get in a situation. Costin signing out. Stay tuned for more. I'll link the mods in the description below. And if you enjoy my content, consider supporting me via PayPal or Patreon.